That just about wraps up what I want to tell you about how to work with Snowball today. Now, the object of Snowball is to help translators to do their work better and faster. And I think we're really just starting to touch on some of the ways that computers are going to be able to help us in the future, and these things that have been more science fiction than reality until now. And I think you can see that the future computer translation environment is going to have to involve some sort of combination of translation memory, machine translation, but this isn't something to be afraid of as translators. We have to make it work for us and to understand there's lots of things that humans can do that computers can't, and they won't be able to do until we get into some really far future science fiction stuff. And I think a lot of other people are going to be losing their jobs much sooner than translators when that starts happening.
Yeah, and so, you bring up sort of an interesting point, and there are one or two other questions I want to get to, but sort of this concept of collaboration among translators and sort of this integration of post-editing and sort of machine application work, that's something that I think people have a lot of opinion on. Certainly there's been some surveys and comments and forums on pros about that, and to what extent that's going to mean increased or decreased opportunity for folks. So I think it's interesting that you're sort of on the front end of this curve. And I guess my question to you is, do you plan on, are there sort of visions of sort of what Taos is doing with data sharing, or what some of your competitors like WordFast does with the very large translation memory? Is there designs or thoughts to have groups of people that could then share some of their Snowball translation memory work and get sort of leveraged by a larger group? Is that in the works or design at all?
Yes. Obviously, that's definitely in the plan. And again, it's a question of financing at this point, because everything that we do to make something like Snowball work as slick as it does, we really have to be careful how we use resources. So every little feature that we add has to be very carefully thought out and programmed, and that simply costs time and money. And the more people we can get out in sort of a grassroots type movement, at least using the free version, the more likely we are to get a little bit more investment into the program, so that so we can start adding some of these features that are obviously going to be necessary. And I think really the key, when you start talking about shared databases or very large translation memories, the key and really the weakest point in all of this is trust.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you trust? And not only that, how do you go about trusting them in a way that's going to work in the translation memory? And that's something that we have to really give a lot of thought. That's why I mentioned that color coding, for example. If we can just do it in a really simple way with color coding of the hits, so, because obviously it's wonderful. You can work with attributes and filters all day and not do a single word of translation. It's got to be quick and it's got to be convenient. Otherwise, people are just going to use it. So that's where I see things going in the future. Obviously, we right now, Snowball is a standalone program, but as soon as we get a client server and internet, web-based version out there, people are going to start collaborating on their databases in whatever ways they can.
Yep, with people they know and
they feel comfortable with.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it all comes down to trust in the end. And
very good.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I won't bore people, but that's related to some of the work that PROS has done with the Certified Pro Network. There's one other question here about compatibility with Trados. I'm assuming they mean TTX files and exports. And if I'm understanding correctly, if it can be opened up in a Microsoft environment, the answer would be yes. But I'll let you answer that, Eric.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't actually get to the TMX business, but we can import and export TMX data, so that's not a problem. You can also do comma-separated values. That's just something you can generate in Microsoft Excel. So we don't have any trouble there. But when you start talking about the tagged Word documents, yeah, we can work with them in Snowball, but we're not going the tagged route at this point. If enough people clamor for it and really want it, we can put it in there. But it's sort of like taking a step back from what I hope is the future of translation memory and hanging on to something that we hopefully won't need to deal with in the future.
Right.
Or at least that we can display it in the information in a more convenient way for the translator, because I just don't think it's right for translators to get all stressed out working with these cumbersome tools where we can provide something for them that's really quick, sort of like the translator's hammer, if you will. You pick it up, you don't need instructions for it. You know which end to hold on to, and you know which end to hit with.
Mm.
That's how simple we want to keep it, because otherwise it's not really a tool.